Anything to say to the people of Lawrence?
Adiós, mi gente. Dios le bendiga.
Goodbye, my people. God bless you. That's what Lawrence's Mayor Brian DePeña had to say after being charged with wire fraud and money laundering. He and his attorney tried to avoid the press as they left the federal courthouse, even crashing into the car parked in front of them.
Another day, another corrupt mayor getting arrested for taking money. Let's get into it.
The mayor of Lawrence and his lawyer involved in a crash leaving court as he's facing federal charges tonight. Prosecutors say that Mayor Brian DePeña improperly used more than $1 million in COVID relief money. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Wade.
And I'm Ken McLeod. Lisa has the night off. Prosecutors say those funds were granted to DePeña as part of a disaster relief loan for his tire business. We have team coverage tonight, beginning with WBZ's Penny Commit. She is live outside the federal courthouse in South Boston for us tonight.
It's interesting that we're still getting more prosecutions for what happened back in 2020. It was such a crazy time, but a lot of people decided to take advantage. That's why you still see PPP loan issues where people took the money, obviously made up businesses. In this situation, I guess he actually had a legit business, but he took a whole lot of money and he used it to become mayor.
Ken, David, these are some pretty serious felony charges. Brian DePeña could face up to 30 years in federal prison if he ends up being convicted. Now, he only spent about 10 minutes inside of the courtroom, but what happened outside turned pretty chaotic. Anything to say to the people of Lawrence?
Adiós, mi gente. Dios le bendiga.
Goodbye, my people. God bless you. That's what Lawrence's Mayor Brian DePeña had to say after being charged with wire fraud and money laundering.
Do you plan to resign, sir?
No comment. He does not.
Nothing.
He and his attorney tried to avoid the press as they left the federal courthouse, even crashing into the car parked in front of them.
All right, not a great start. Not a great start. Your lawyer seemed to be a little nervous, got a little frazzled, and decided to just run into a parked car because the allegations are pretty bad. $1.5 million in the COVID small business loan, and used those proceeds to fund his campaign accounts, pay taxes, and pay some other mortgages on some other properties that he owned in Lawrence. So he is totally screwed, and even the lawyer realizes that he's in trouble and decided to mess up his really nice car by slamming into that parked car in front of everybody. That looked pretty embarrassing, to say the least.
DePeña was arrested at his home Friday, accused of obtaining over $1.5 million in COVID-era small business loans to pay his personal taxes, mortgages, and fund his mayoral campaign. Do you deny the allegations?
Absolutely, no comment.
According to court documents, this all started in June 2020 when DePeña applied for and received a $150,000 economic injury disaster loan, or EIDL, for his business Tenares Tire Services Inc. About a year later, DePeña received another $350,000. And of that money, it's alleged the mayor spent $175,000 to pay for his election campaign and personal tax debts. In October 2021, DePeña was approved for another loan increase of over $1.1 million. He then allegedly wrote tens of thousands of dollars in checks to his campaign account, which had been overdrawn, and purchased nearly $900,000 in treasurer's checks to pay off his high-interest loans. By August 2026, DePeña had only made 16 payments on the EIDLs, with the outstanding principal totaling over $1.6 million.
Not good. Actually, let's go back real quick so you can see the timeline of terribleness here. So this looks really bad for him. It's not a gray area situation where, he used business funds loosely. This alleged sequence right here, getting a loan certified for business working capital, then routing the $90,000 into a campaign account. Then he's using the money for personal taxes, not business taxes. And then he modified the loan to pull another $1.15 million to pay off another $900,000 in personal mortgages. Again, all personal stuff. Reads as a deliberate pattern to scam the federal government. Prosecutors love these type of cases because you can see the timeline that a jury can easily follow. He's probably going to have to take a deal. I doubt he's going to take this to trial. And the thing is about the EIDL applications, they have a signed certification about how the funds will be used. It's very exact. So wire transfers, the treasurer's checks, the campaign finance filings, mortgage payoffs, they're all going to be documented. You can trace all these things. So the 16 payments totaling $130,000 against that $1.6 million balance all applied to interest undercuts any idea that, well, I always intend to pay it back as a legitimate business loan. No, probably not going to happen. This is money laundering. It signals that the prosecutors believe that he was moving this money around to disguise its source or the nature of it, which is harder to develop a defense for or explain away as sloppiness than just a fraud count alone.
Over $1.6 million.
What I'm saying is I'm going to have bodyguards because look how outrageous this is. It's crazy.
I hope he wrote a note for the car he slammed into earlier.
The mayor was released on several conditions. He cannot leave the state, not even to New Hampshire. He had to surrender his passport as well. DePeña also told the court that he's currently being treated for prostate cancer. In Boston.
Now, some of the mayor's neighbors in Lawrence say they are shocked by these allegations.
Earlier this morning, federal agents swarmed DePeña's home just behind me here in Lawrence, and neighbors along this street tell me it was a shocking way to wake up. Federal agents swarmed the home of Lawrence Mayor Brian DePeña, with cameras capturing the moment they moved in.
It doesn't shock me. It doesn't come really as a surprise. There was some speculation about his honesty and all, and corruption has gone down through the city and over the years.
And the reason why that guy said that is because this mayor has a history of some shady corruption type of behavior. So for instance, back in April of 2026, the Massachusetts Attorney General Office opened a criminal investigation into allegations of a secret audio recordings inside of Lawrence City Hall centered on a camera outside of the mayor's own office. It's a felony in Massachusetts to secretly record people without consent, a punishable up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. DePeña claimed that he was unaware of the audio recordings and hired a private firm to investigate, but the New England Police Benevolent Association, representing Lawrence 2 police unions, retained counsel and called for his resignation. Back in 2023, DePeña's former chief of staff was charged and convicted of possession of child. A city councilor pleaded guilty to voter fraud charges, and the state attorney launched a criminal investigation into the secret city hall recordings. So roughly 2 years, you had convicted aides, a voted fraud guilty plea in his political orbit, and an AG wiretapping probe. Now a federal indictment, all from the same situation. It just seems like a lot of shitty things are happening with him or around him.
Neighbors we spoke with say this happened around 6 o'clock this morning and involved several unmarked cars. We knocked on the mayor's door to see if anyone was home and noticed significant damage to the front door. At this point, it's not clear whether that damage was caused by law enforcement entering his home. How does it feel for you to hear that news?
Sad, embarrassed.
Lawrence residents like Isabel Gonzalez say they feel betrayed. Gonzalez says she voted for DePeña and is saddened by the allegations against him. The FBI says DePeña used $1.5 million in COVID relief funds for personal expenses. The money was intended for his tire business, but court documents allege DePeña instead used some of the money to pay down mortgages and put money into his campaign fund.
Through all these years, you're here, you grow up here, you go to school here, and you put your thoughts in somebody. With the COVID, you know how bad it was? It's unbelievable.
DePeña's neighbor Charlotte Bluen tells me she was shocked to hear the news of the arrest.
I wish things would go back to the way they were, where everybody really cared about everybody else, but it doesn't seem to be happening. Yeah. It's just too bad. It's too bad.
The EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, was a program during COVID that was supposed to give out low interest loans to small businesses that was hurt by the pandemic. The whole point was working capital, that the ordinary operating expenses a business will still owe when the revenue dries up because of all the shutdowns, all the craziness that happened during COVID. It was supposed to be for real uses, legitimate uses, payroll, paying the rent, or the business mortgage, utilities, paying for inventory, paying for the supplier, operating costs to keep the business afloat. Federal prosecutors said that this money was only intended to alleviate economic injury from the COVID-19 pandemic. The money had to have been used to continue normal operations, not to expand or acquire assets or pay your personal taxes. That's not how it's supposed to work. And you can see what's going on with this individual, what is going to happen. So most likely he's going to probably have to take a deal. The feds are on you. The paper trail is there. I don't know how he's going to be able to get away with this. He can sit there and try to find ways to finesse this, but I think he's going to be in a whole lot of trouble. I mean, he is in a lot of trouble. We will continue to update you on this story and see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.